Very good. And I pause it.
Okay.
Okay, wonderful. Here we are again.
Yes. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us either now or later in the recording. We are coming up with a huge topic, embodiment. I remember that in Bratislava now at the seminar, you were sharing a lot about this because it was very present. So if you could tell us at the beginning, what does actually embodiment mean in everyday life so people can get it?
This is a very good question. And it's not easy to explain. I think the easiest explanation would be to give an example. So, embodiment for me is really being in the body as body, like I am present here as this physical body. And a lot of times during the day, we are not there. So a lot of times during the day, we are disconnected from the body. We are looking at our body as object or something like this. But you're absolutely capable to feel the difference between somebody who is embodied in front of you, like right in there as a fully present being with a body, or somebody who's dangling in their mind, not even being here. And very often, because we are not conscious of our physical body, we are living in la la land. We are in our minds. We are in the future. We are in the past. We are somewhere else, but we're not right here, right now. And for me, is embodiment is kind of like mindfulness, but without a mind. We had it in other episodes that I don't really enjoy that term. Okay, mindful for me means the mind is too full. So for me, I prefer awareness. So embodiment for me is the real physical aspect of awareness. How much can I sense and feel and be in my body right here, right now? So am I aware of what I'm taking in sensually? Am I aware of how I'm feeling emotionally? And can I express myself in the here and now? And embodiment doesn't mean that I have to be glorious all the time. It doesn't mean that I'm totally in the flow always. But it is really being present as the totality of I am. So, like the complete package. And I think we feel the difference, no? How is it for you? Have you ever felt the difference between somebody embodying something completely and somebody just casually, creating and throwing around concepts or knowledge or, something like that?
I mean, I can feel a difference now when I know what does it mean to be in the body. But before, so I lived most of my life disconnected. And
Yeah.
that leads me to the second question that how can
Lady,
people
his
notice that
translation
they
is
are
not
not?
here. Translation is lost. Just that
Mm.
you know,
Okay.
Okay, let me see what the translation is doing.
it's not there anymore.
Oh, oh. So what happened to Nati? Sorry, 1 second. Nati is gone. Let me see. Let's see where our beautiful translator went. Here she is. Hmm. Huh. 1 second, she's joining again.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, sorry for that. 1 second. Okay, now Nati is here, so we can start the whole business again. Wonderful. See, our translation was not embodied. And does it work? No. Okay. Are we good now? So let's close all of this. Dum dum. And open this. Brilliant. Yeah, the technical blessings, hey? Okay, great. Here we go. Sorry, I forgot your last question. Oh, yeah, the disconnection. That's
Yeah, you
what you
asked me
mentioned.
if I can sense if somebody is really embodied. So I just shared that if I wouldn't know how it is to be embodied, I wouldn't know the difference because I used to live my life disconnected and I didn't know I'm disconnected. And since I starting, working, going in the seminars with you and, all these things, I can feel the difference, and I can feel the difference in the others because I know how it is to feel embodied. But yeah, that leads me to the second question. Like, for example, when people are watching and if they want to know how can we notice that we are not really in our body, but mostly in our head, what kind of signals does the body give us? Because when we don't know how it is to be embodied, how, can people actually imagine what it feels like?
Or we can make an exercise out of it, actually. It's a fun one. I got inspired by an embodiment teacher who had a very simple example. Okay, Mark Walsh, he's a crude sense of humor. I love him. So just look at your arm, look at your arm and really objectify it. So make it an object of observation. So you have a hand and fingers and an arm and, that, and you see your fingernails and maybe you're poking, something like that, whatever. So you're looking at your arm. And now let go of your arm, shake it a little bit. Okay. Do you have any feelings about that arm? Anything? No. Okay. Now take the same arm, the same hand, and look at it and relate to it as you. This is a part of you, your arm. And this is the arm that was creating art. This is the arm that was holding your loved one. This is the arm that can cradle a baby. This is the arm that can touch and stroke. This is the arm that actually made you food. And this is probably the same arm that put the food in your mouth. And now feel everything that is related to you in this arm form. The love that you can hold people with, the sensuality you can touch somebody or something with. So how do you feel about this arm now?
Oh, it's so beautiful. So alive. It's different, of course.
It's very different. This is very different, whether you call the body it, whether it is some object, or whether it's really, oh, my beloved, it's me. And, there is this funny thing in the spiritual tradition that we are trying not to be the body. And this is a gross misunderstanding. Okay, we are very much the body, although we can transcend the boundaries and limitations of this little meat form. But we have to love ourselves and to love our bodies to be able to really embody the vitality that is here. The spirit that has a temple and a home here, it needs this to have a love affair with. And I think because you were speaking about dissociation earlier, this is the madness in our times because we have almost been forced, with all the recent funny things happening in the world, we've been forced to disconnect in so many ways, okay? But the brutal one is we have been forced or conditioned to disconnect from our very bodies. I mean, religiously, bodies were shamed, and with gender and sexuality, bodies were shamed, or you got assigned roles, like men have to be this kind of strong and have that posture and do these things, and women have to do different things, and people who don't feel like men or women, they, don't get me started on this whole business. And we have really abused and objectified all our bodies. Women more brutally than men, probably, but it's not better in the male compartment. And for example, when we are working with women, and last time at the seminar, we had this about boundaries. We had this about embodying your wishes and, what you really want and stating it and setting boundaries and so on. We've been conditioned, many of us, to keep ourselves small, also physically. Okay? How many of my friends and girlfriends have an issue with the body being too something, too much, too big, too old, too wrinkled, whatever, like an object, like not looking at the wrinkles as your accolades and your tribute to life. It's like a like a sign. Hey, I lived. But looking at it as something that has to be changed. And also in the field of movement, how many times do I hear that the body needs to be more athletic or more aesthetic? It has to be different, more pretty, more strong, more fit, more young, more I don't know what, and it's very, very sad that our culture has contributed to disconnecting us from our bodies and from each other. Because if I'm relating to another person as an object, a body to give me pleasure, or somebody to provide something for my experience, I'm having a very different result than two embodied beings meeting. You know, if we can encounter each other's in our full I am present in whatever shape and form that body takes at the moment, this is a very different situation. So I'm very well aware that culturally and in society, embodiment was not really encouraged, quite the opposite, because it makes it also easier. It most makes it easier to separate us from each other, and it makes it easier to control our behaviors and our consummation, what we're consuming, what we're buying, when we are not aware of what is happening in the physical body, when we are disconnected and absent and have a distance between this. So I think some of it is really almost on purpose, like this keeping women small, like tucking in your tummy and making yourself smaller so that you are not creating emotions or energies in other people or feeling responsible for how they feel and so on. And at the same time, because we are sitting beings very much during the day, and we've been forced to look at our phones like this, not forced, but we do it, okay? And we're sitting at computers in a posture that, from the posture point of view, makes you feel certain things when you sit back. You see, I'm not sitting, I'm standing. I can move, I can be, I still have my screen that I have to look at, but I'm able to move. I can be upright, I can be open. So if I was sitting, I would have a very different posture, which would also give me a very different feeling in my body. And this would lead to me expressing different things differently, And when we're sitting at a computer in a bad posture, we're actually forced to feel small because we are in a posture of submission, We are making ourselves small, and then look like, and the feeling that we're having in this position, when you are actually really allowing yourself to feel it, is awful. So do it for a moment. I mean, I'm standing, I have to pretend, but make yourself really small. Let your shoulders drop down and put your arms into whatever you're doing and put your head down and then stare at whatever your keyboard, and then look at the screen and then stare at the keyboard and get a feeling of what are you feeling?
It's my old life. I used to do this a lot before. I lived like this. So for me, it's like remembering what I don't want to live again. Yeah, this shrinking and want to hide all the time and
wanting to hide, like having a Zoom meeting without the camera on. I mean, how many people do that? They are never present, They have an AI bot running in the meeting and camera is off and they're doing something else meanwhile. So, yeah. I'm really interested in meeting people, feeling people, encountering them in everything. It doesn't have to be a positive state of being, but as long as it's real, as long as it's there, this is what I'm really, how can I say, passionate about. And the fun thing is, I didn't have that word for a long time. I didn't have the word embodiment as such. When I was starting, I was really young. I was starting with martial arts. Okay, so I was doing a police course for self-defense for women, and I became aware because the teacher was excellent. The teacher made us aware of the physical sensations of our body. So part of the training was, yes, the whole martial arts stuff, but another part was feeling, being here and being able to feel danger and also being able to feel safety, which I was not able before. And to feel, sense, know with your body the difference. Does this situation person feel safe or not? And when I do not feel safe with this person or situation, we were taught how to say no, how to set a boundary, and how to physically do it. Okay. So we were training, because it was a self-defense course led by the police forces. So we were really training embodiment without us having the word for it, you know. And part of this whole training was also the warming up with strong yoga, and the cooling down with gentle yoga. And I thought, wow, that's amazing. I got injured a little later. I started with 16, and I got I got a bit off track from martial arts and yoga because I had an injury. My knee was hurt. But anyway, but what I realized is all these techniques that I have loved and that I felt so good in doing is actually practical application of embodiment. This is actually what helps you to have an embodied experience.
So let's say that there are people watching us who maybe start to be aware of the fact that they are living in their head. And let's say that how can people approach embodiment in a gentle way in everyday situations? That imagine there is someone watching us and they know they want to change it, but they don't know how to feel the body, how to, go from the mind to the body.
Yeah. Well, a very good start is to breathe out. So, I mean, literally, having the intention of connecting to the body and feeling the body and sighing out. So let's just do it. So wherever you are, whatever you're doing, you can even do that when you're driving a car, but really simply sigh out. Yeah. So, and you're even moving, you know? So this is the most basic start of being with your body, to allow yourself to breathe out. Because many of us, when we're going through stressful stuff, or we have to work on the computer or be in a situation that we are not really comfortable in, we hold our breath, and we also create tension in the body. So let's do an experiment, because I know it's difficult for people who are mainly thinking and living in the cognitive realm. It can be a bit like, woo, 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 what are we talking about, body and sensations? But I think when you are focusing on a different experience, you can actually get some information that you simply were not paying attention to before. It's called awareness. So just casually think about a minorly stressful event. So not major big life trauma, but think of something that was, like, don't want to do it. Like, you have to make a phone call, or you have to meet a person that you feel less than enthusiastic about. Okay. So can you remember a situation or a person?
Yeah.
Okay. And make it really vivid and allow your body to take the posture that it wants to take when you're thinking of this situation and person. So what's happening? What kind of posture do you want? What's happening in the body? Yes, yes. So,
Yeah.
and yeah, go on. What else? This?
No,
Yeah,
I'm just like, no, I don't want to do it like this.
yeah. And could you feel something happening with your breath or with the overall tension of your body?
Yeah, it's more tight.
Yes, it's tighter. And this is something that we can very quickly learn to spot. So this is something that is easier to become aware of, that we have tension. Usually our shoulders are hiking up towards the ears, and if it's a really rare situation, then usually we're also hollowing. So we're retreating a little bit, or we're puffing up, we're puffing ourselves out. So something happens in the body that involves tension, like boom. And usually also holding the breath. So to start, there are apps on the phone, actually, you can have that give you a rhythm. So every hour or every 2 hours or whatever you say, the app reminds you to check in how you're feeling. I mean, even something that's simple as the basic health app on my phone, asks me, if I allow it to terrorize me, it asks me, how do you feel? So it gives me check-in dates. So it just pops up and asks, how are you feeling? And you're like, oh, go away. So of course you can switch it off, but you can also intentionally use it to say, oh, I've got one breath available to breathe out, and notice, okay, how much tension is here? Can I, if I choose to, release this tension now? So roll your shoulders or, release the arms. So going back to that situation that we were joyfully, playfully using. So that rep that you went into. So recreate it for a moment, And feel, just check in what that feels like. What kind of sensations are there? And does it have an emotional component, something that you can notice? What kind of sensations or emotions are present?
I'm creating a protection shield around myself.
Mm-hmm.
The bubble or shield. I felt a bit of anger that I feel forced to do something that I don't really want or I'm not comfortable with.
Beautiful. Wonderful. And now choose, okay? It's a bit forced now when I ask you, but choose something different. So if I invite you and said you had the choice about how you want to feel, how you want to be in that situation and with that person, is there anything available where you would say, that's an option? I could choose something else?
I could choose not to go.
You can choose not to go. Okay, what happens when you picture yourself? Fuck you. Sorry, my French. Aha! There was a breath. There was a breath. Did you notice? You said, ah, yeah, and you let go of everything. So, yes, you listen to your body relaxes. Wonderful. And you can also intentionally choose it the other way around. So you can choose to change your posture and with that change the state that you are in and the emotions that you feel and the energy that you are, how can I say, distribute around you. Like what I'm really liking to do at my seminars is I'm inviting people to find their angel wings again. You probably heard me before about the angel wings, right?
Yeah.
And this is something that I say again.
In the last Soulful talk, you were sharing this.
Also, yeah, see? And I think this works like a bomb. When I remember my shoulder blades, when I remember, oi, I've got shoulder blades. What I'm also doing is I'm reminding myself that I have a back that is protected and I have like like warm hands on my back, almost like that. And then I allow them to fluff out and I just create an invisible but wonderfully warm and comfortable my own angel wing place. And in that, because you're activating your shoulder blades and you're opening your posture and you're opening your imaginary angel wings, the whole feeling in the body changes. Okay, there is an openness, there is a connectivity available where you're actually able to invite somebody in if you choose to and not to invite them in if it's not appropriate. It's like it's a very handy thing. So I'm using my angel wings all the time. And this is one of the first things that I usually also teach my clients to become aware that they have their own portable safe place, kind of. And when they connect to these angel wings, they also become aware of situations where it's not it's not what's here now. Okay, you love that friend, but not now. Okay, you want to go there, but not now. And you want to walk down the street, but it doesn't feel right. So you take a different route. So these things are available to us when we are connecting to how our bodies feel around this. And like you just did with this exercise, picturing a stressful situation, feeling the tension, making a new choice and releasing the tension, this is really like the ABC. That's the beginning of everything. It's like awareness and then choices and allow it. I mean, acceptance actually goes with the awareness. So whatever I'm noticing, like, I have to accept this. I have to say, okay, my body has a good reason for not liking this. Okay. And then I can make a choice. So how do I deal with this situation when my body gives me a clear signal?
Right. I really like the topic of boundaries that you mentioned. I have one question here that I really love. I would like to ask you, how is embodiment connected to authenticity and ability to say no or stand in our truth? Like, what's the difference when we are anchored in our body and we want to set the boundary, and how it is when the person is, for example, only in the head? This.
I'm really having a hard time picturing somebody being authentic when they are not really in their body. I think it's difficult. Okay. I think part of embodiment is really being authentic, being you with everything. And this also includes my choices, you know? And it's a learning, you know? It's a learning, but it's wonderful and it's so liberating to learn to be yourself and stand up for your choices. This includes boundaries, and it also includes the softness of letting go, of allowing things to leave that are actually not ours, that we are not really feeling, that we cannot really stand up for. And this is authenticity, because sometimes my choices might not be comfortable for another person. And of course, we can compromise. Of course, we can talk. We can, as social beings, we are absolutely able to stand in a conflict in an embodied way, in a non-threatening, in an accepting way, and say, yes, and, I'm having this boundary, but the rest is a little bit movable. Okay. There is the difference between a wish that I have or a request that I want to put to my loved one and a clear boundary. A boundary is much harder. It's like this, do not cross. But not everything that I like or wish or authentically experience or feel has to do with a boundary. Okay. Sometimes it's simply choices that are open for negotiation. Okay. When I'm really embodying my wishes and desires and my choices, it's much easier for other people to know how they want to relate to this. If I'm clear what I want, if I'm really feeling it here, and I know how much I want this, do I want it a little bit or do I want it really, really a lot? Or is it an absolutely non-negotiable one? Then other people can be much clearer with me because they feel me. They can relate to that. They say, yeah, I get you. I mean, it's not my choice. I don't want to do this, but hey, my blessing. Yeah, go ahead. And it makes life actually much easier when you can be authentic in what you're feeling and be clear and aware of what you're choosing. Okay. And I'm not one for tough and just me and selfish. No, it's quite the opposite. Embodiment has a very social component because we as beings, as humans, we are social animals. It's all about connecting with others and being with others. Of course, I can be by myself, I can survive, but this is not my basic natural design. And when I can embody myself, I'm also embodying my culture and everything that went before me, my ancestors, okay? And I'm bringing them to the table. And I can honor and respect your ancestors and your choices and your cultural conditioning and everything. And then let's talk, okay? As beings with bodies, it is much easier to be social, to be with each other when we are clear here, when we are at home, when somebody is present, then it's fantastic. It's joy, it's fun, and deep, and intimate, and authentic. So, yes, embodiment needs authenticity and vice versa. I think they come together.
Mm-hmm.
Did that answer your question, or did I went around the church? No?
That's great. And what about safety? How does safety influence our capacity to be embodied?
Well, it's important that we have an idea of what it feels like. I'm a huge fan of making a difference between something that feels absolutely safe and safe enough. Okay? Because we are very fragile beings, so we can never 100% know that we will have another breath. Okay? And the feeling of safety is very, very important for our nervous system to relax. We need some practice that helps us to feel grounded, to feel here, to feel present, to feel safe enough to lower our walls. Okay. Because when we are in defense mode, when we are, like in the survival corners, we will not allow other people in. We will not allow ourselves out because it's all about survival. So we have to feel a certain amount of safe enough so that we come into a connection corner. We don't have to necessarily connect, but we would be able to. But we have to feel enough safety that we are able to lower our walls. And this also has to do something with embodiment, because when I'm not here, when I can't feel my own feelings and my own sensations, it's very difficult to know where I'm ending and the other person starts. And it's also very difficult to feel the organic, gentle boundaries, to feel, okay, enough. Okay, you can come in. Okay, I can open a little bit more. Because openness, connection, intimacy, non-sexual, like meeting intimacy, it has an element of vulnerability. Okay, there is an element of I'm making myself a little less defended, little defenseless, and I'm allowing contact to happen. And of course, always something can happen. Okay. I cannot exclude the possibility of hurt because it comes in the package. People hurt each other all the time. And we have to allow this element of, not completely untouchable, but this gives us the depth of meeting someone on the heart level. But it includes that I feel safe enough in my own being, that I can trust myself enough, that I feel when it is enough, that I feel this is safe enough, the person is safe enough for me, and the situation is safe enough for me to take the risk, to be courageous enough to open the door, to lower the wall, to, open my arms, if you so wish. Because if you look at other practices like dancing, martial arts, yoga, when you do acro yoga or something like that, when it includes other people, it always includes an element of trust. Do I feel that my body is safe enough with this person to actually make a flip-flop over them or something like that? Or do I feel safe enough with this person that they can guide me in a dance? Do I feel safe enough with this person to have a play fight and know they will respect my boundaries? A lot of people, unfortunately, don't have an embodied idea of safety. Okay, they have a feeling of, I need guarantees. Okay, I need my expectations to be met. Otherwise, like this. This is not what is invited. It's more about this feeling of feeling that warmth in your heart where you feel like you're sitting in yourself, feeling like a warm feeling in your belly, like you're grounded in there, being aware that you have your angel wings. And it is some feeling of, if you recall it, let's do an experiment again. Can you, just sitting here, recall a situation where you felt reasonably okay with a person or a place or an animal, that it kind of put a smile on your face, like a warm can be you remembering stroking your cat in front of the fireplace, can be you being with grandma having a cup of tea. It can be you in nature seeing a very big beautiful tree, or it can be looking outside and there's snow and it glitters. Can you remember this? Try to remember something.
Yeah, I have.
What have you chosen? What is it that you're having a smile already? See, it makes you smile automatically. So what did you remember?
So
Do you
did I
want to share?
choose?
Is it okay?
Yeah. I remember the moment that I was praying for so long, me standing under a huge waterfall in Bali.
Mm.
The island was calling me, and suddenly I was standing under this huge power. And I mean, I saw it in the dreams, and suddenly I'm standing there and just
Wow.
this feeling of this is it, I'm back. Yeah,
Wow.
brought me
I'm
back.
having goosebumps right now, girlfriend. This is powerful. Wow. Yeah, this is actually powerful, right? This is not only safe, this is powerful. This has a bit more fire energy in it, no? Yeah. Anyway, so great, fantastic. Yeah. And what are the sensations? Can you describe that? What is your body experiencing when you recall this situation?
Mm. Peace, freedom, uh, mm, quiet, like this inner peace. Like everything is all right. I'm here. Presence, embodiment. Yeah, that's the word. Like,
Ta-da!
I'm just here. That's it.
Yes. Yes. I am here. That's it. I think this is embodiment in a nutshell.
Mm. Mm. Many experiments today. I like it.
Yeah, because I want to keep it simple because
Yeah.
it's our most natural state of being. It's our home base. Um it's it. It's not it, it's I. So um and for people to remember that we have this amazing capacity and to choose wisely when not to do. I mean, of course, I can also hang out and not be present and, do mindless things. It can be enjoyable for a time, but I pretty much almost always prefer to do something that gives me a feeling of flow, of being in a satisfied connection with what I'm doing. Even when I'm gardening or when I'm being with my grandchild, I love it because everything comes alive, all the senses come alive. And I unfortunately really do remember times that I was not present in this way. I had a bit of a wild youth and also wild adulthood, so it took me quite a while to come home to myself. And I still very much recall me numbing out with whatever available. I was really disconnecting from this here on purpose with everything. I mean, drugs, sex, rock and roll, but also with stupid things like turning my attention onto people and situations, and that were absolutely not okay for me, that were not healthy, not even enjoyable, actually. But I did that because I couldn't face or stand, I couldn't be with the residue of sensations that were in this body still. I couldn't, I felt like I could not be in this body because it's so painful, it's tense, it's too many emotions and bad emotions, and I don't like it, like I want to not be here. And this was the reason I was doing a lot of very stupid things because I was trying to avoid being here where it was dreadful. And it took me really, I mean, doing therapy, doing trauma release techniques, doing embodiment stuff, doing emotional healing to actually find this freedom to really embrace all the experiences when they are happening instead of trying to avoid those that were painful and trying to make something else happen and god knows what, but really being here. It took practice, so this is why I want to keep it simple. The start is super simple. Okay. Be aware. Accept what you find. And this was the crux of the matter for me, that because I did not like the experience I was having, I was judging it, I was criticizing it, I was trying to have it differently. My body was not okay. I needed to be thinner and more fit and I don't know, whatever. And I wanted to change everything. But I did not accept what was here. I first had to accept the status quo. I first had to really be here enough to listen and see and feel what's here, and then make new choices. And I'm very lucky because teachers kept crossing my path every time I needed one. So whenever I was ready, I got the next lesson. I thought, oh, that makes a lot of sense. Thank you very much. So, and I'm really feeling for people who say like, I cannot connect to my body. It's like, oh. But then also we have this happening time and again. I mean, so many times I can't even count it anymore, that people simply come to a simple seminar like we're doing and then say like, that's it. I'm home. Finally, for the first time, I can feel safe being myself. I can feel me. I can feel life. I'm alive. I'm living. And this is what I get so passionate about, that we stop surviving, but that we actually start living in this beautiful here and now.
So, so beautiful. So I believe that this actually affects our ability to receive. So I had another question prepared. How does embodiment affect our ability to receive, for example, love, money, or success?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how you would receive it if you are not embodying, if you're not allowing it to be felt as an experience. Because this is the sad part of numbing ourselves out. We take things to stimulate ourselves. We use sexuality. We use things to stimulate us out of an experience that we dread, that we don't like. But many of us are actually desiring a connection, reciprocity of feelings, emotional connection, love, and success in a way that is not embodied. If I'm wanting to have that image of success, I'm doing very different things. I'm using my body in a very different way to achieve accolades, to achieve goals in a very different way. But once I reach the goal, it doesn't taste. It has no nourishing quality. It has a tick. I tick the box, but then I have to go on. I'm having a lot of burnout clients here in my practice, and it's a very tragic story of having goals, reaching them, and not feeling fulfilled, because the embodiment part is missing. Okay, we're chasing ghosts, and when we get to that signpost, okay, I made it, I did it. I've got my 2.0 children, I've got my so and so many bank account and blah. And I can't feel it, because the sensuality, the emotionality lives in the body. So even if I've really worked hard and I made it and I can be proud of myself, it's kind of like poof, gone. And the difference is when I allow my body to help me, to support my choices, to support me with my vision, with my felt purpose. There's a difference between a purpose and a goal. Okay. When I can feel purpose in what I'm doing, I'm having the satisfaction already while I'm doing it. So there is no signpost saying finishing line and then you cross it and then you look back, what? But it's the expression of the me-ness. So the Dorothee-ness expresses itself through my body in my doing, and that is giving me the feeling, the sensation of deep contentment, nourishment, success, abundance, richness, fullness, aliveness, love, bliss, pride, everything. It is this really having it through the whole body. And even then, when I'm not successful, it's very interesting when you are with your full body in that experience and you are not successful because you fail or you mess it up. you can still have a good feeling about yourself and the whole situation. So yes, it's sad, and yes, it's like, oh, duh, but it's still nourishing because you're growing. It's like falling and standing back up. It gives you the feeling of courage and of power. Yes, you have to stroke the dust off your body, and you kind of like you give yourself the strokes, and you have to do some healing maybe, and then it gives you more oomph, you know. And many people, funny enough, couples therapy, okay? People desire love. They desire to be seen and felt for who they are and accepted and related to, and like this, without really having an idea of who they are, without really knowing who they are and what they need and want and what their desires are and what their purpose is and what their goals is and what their values are. But they expect somebody else to love them unconditionally for just being there without really having their own relationship to themselves. So this is why, for example, we do the Connect Deeper seminar, because it's about really connecting to yourself first, being here as the first one, being your guidance, your nurturer, your nourishment, your supporter, your own best friend, and then opening the doors to allow encountering people with their own quirky ideas and on their own path. And then if you're lucky, you're meeting somebody where you say, okay, this gels so much, the values are so much linked, and we're looking into the same direction, that this could be a beautiful, enriching, amazing, embodied relationship. But very often we have no idea about ourselves, and we actually don't have an idea of what would a successful relationship feel like? What would love, when it is here, really feel like? Because sadly enough, many of us have grown up without the connection and the emotional maturity of our parents to actually teach us emotions regulation, nervous system, regulation. And we don't know what these emotions are, and we don't like them. Okay, we don't like it. Nope, don't do it. And then we run around, but we're looking for salvation, and we are looking for the cure and the change outside. So if I achieve this, then if I get the right person, then I will feel loved. But when you are really with yourself, when you are embodied in your own choices, then it's much easier to see the love when it's already coming. Okay, then you all of a sudden realize, okay, the same parents that were immature and not giving you what you needed, but they were expressing love in a different way. And all of a sudden, your body remembers and gets nourished by even the quirkiest little things. And your body at the same time can tell you, okay, they love me, I can see it, I can feel it. And this behavior, not okay. Okay, I'm distancing myself from this behavior, and I'm saying no to this part of the relationship. And I'm saying fully yes to whatever is the nourishing bit in the success, the relationship, the love. That was a long answer, but do you get where I'm heading? Is it clear what I mean?
Yeah, very, very good. Thank you.
Mm.
Wow, this is a big one. I love it.
Yeah.
Can we truly embody something we haven't emotionally processed?
I'm not fully sure that I understand the question, because emotional processing, what exactly is that? I can embody everything that is here now. So all emotions that are available here now when they choose to be here, I can embody them totally. And sometimes if you're referring to the backpack emotions or traumatic memories or something like this, we have almost like flashback situations where our body goes into a habitual pattern of reaction to or reaction with a certain emotion. And we can change this with the body. This is the whole aim of the kind of emotion therapy that we're doing, that we are not saying, this is my destiny. Yes, it happened to me. Yes. So I'm accepting it. Yes, it happened. And whatever that is here right now, needs care, needs healing, needs therapy, coaching, needs being with. And I'm a big fan of empowering people to really be with their emotions, not to push them away, not to override them, not to numb them out, or not to overdo anything with them, but to really be with them and sit with them. And then make wise choices of a better coping strategy than what they did before. Like in my case, numbing out could include intensity. So I was distracting myself with experiences with intense sensations and energies and emotions. And I was distracting myself with that from deep feelings of grief and sadness. So in my case, it needed noticing when I'm going into my distraction mode and then stop. Oh, be aware I'm doing it again. Here we go again. And then pausing long enough, breathing like we did earlier, and saying, okay, something is here that makes me want to run. Let me just take a breath and find out, what am I really feeling right now? And then I'm feeling whatever I'm feeling. In my case, it was a lot of sadness and grief. And I don't like it. Okay. It makes me feel weak. I don't like it. But I had the choice. I can run again. Or I can sit with myself. I can be with myself in it, with it, while it lasts. And I could choose to name it. I would say, oh, wow, sadness is here. And I can quickly look around and say, is sadness really here now? Is it happening here now? Or is it something old from my past, from my backpack, that is coming to visit me again because it wants love and acceptance and healing? And more often than not, I would realize it's not right here, right now, but it's coming from the past, from the backpack. It's something suppressed or something avoided. And then I would say, okay, and I breathe again. I sigh and I say, okay, this is a memory, or this is a residue. This is a feeling from my past. And I acknowledge it. Okay. It's kind of like what we're saying. This is my trauma brain speaking. Okay. And I embrace that part of me that had these experiences. Okay. The Dorothy that was 5 years old, or 15, or 25, or 35. I embrace her and say, well, like a good friend, sitting with her saying, yeah, I feel you. Tough shit. Okay. And then I breathe. And then, the emotions, if you're not engaging in a story, but if you're really sitting with the sensations, the feelings, and what your body really wants to do, it takes you seconds. So when we practice it at the seminars, it's really like, can't last longer than 90 seconds, and then it's gone and it's something else. And when you are learning to sit with it, it changes. And then you can allow other movement, and you can turn towards a more healthy coping. Not a coping strategy that is a knee-jerk reaction that is conditioned, not numbing out, but coping. Writing a letter to yourself, cooking a healthy meal, going to wobble, shake, dance, hit a pillow, hug a pillow, throw a pillow, whatever. And I can find a healthy way of coping with it. For me, it was movement. Okay. I'm using movement a lot, different kinds of movement, because this is what gets all these energies through my body. Now, with grief and sadness, it's probably a different kind of movement. Okay. It's probably more gentle stroking, bilateral stimulations. It's probably more really being aware of the beauty that is also coming with grief. Okay. I can only grieve something that was important to me. So I acknowledge this, and I'm really making it my little rituals, or, like this. So being with it means I'm embodying it for the time it's happening, and I'm allowing my body to process it in a very physical way. So yes, we embody something that we haven't processed yet because it's still here. And yes, we're using embodiment techniques to actually move it through. And this is why, like you experienced recently, I'm starting to name things differently so that people become aware of what they're doing organically anyway. Okay. So there was if I can add this is going a little bit off track, but I love it. So I was at a seminar with a teacher I love a lot, and they wanted to give us an experience of feeling our choices, you know? And it was very funny because one of the advices was to feel the front of your body and to notice whether you get this with a decision. And I noticed that I had done it often without realizing what I do because I had a hard time making healthy choices for myself because I only knew intensity or numbing. Okay. I didn't, I wasn't really aware of the guidance that is here emotionally and physically. So I was either not deciding or doing whatever. But what I realized was when I'm talking about a choice with a friend and I play this game of what would you do? And they recommend something to me, whatever the choice is, let's say it was an A and B, and they say A, and I didn't like it, so I was arguing inside myself, I want B. But actually, this is embodiment in praxis because you feel that you don't like what they're saying. So you feel, oh, no, I want something else. And this is actually a trick you can use even when you're by yourself at home. You just flip a coin. Okay, you can't decide whether you want to have spinach or broccoli. Okay, flip a coin and then see what comes out of it and feel, do you like the result or not? And if you don't like the result, you probably have a different choice. So this is a very cheeky way of finding out what you really want. But of course, the way that the teacher made it was much better. So you feel the front of your body and you picture, do you want this? And you're leaning in or you're leaning out. And then you picture something else and then you feel, are you leaning in? Are you leaning out? We can do that if you like to, but flipping the coin is just as easy.
Nice.
Have you had this experience before?
Yeah.
That you want to make a choice and you talk to a friend about it and then they advise you or they recommend and you feel like, meh.
Yeah. But usually I use this with the body. It's helping me because I feel it when I do it and I let my body help me.
Yeah.
It's a good one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, I think we're coming to an end. You shared really great trick to people because my last question I was planning on asking you what would you like people to know or give them some tips or embodiment. So if you would like to add anything, what comes to your mind right now at the end, feel free to share with us.
Well, I really like one exercise that I give to my clients when they are starting to come more into the body, which is very simple. Use your morning shower or evening shower, whatever you're doing. Use that as a little ritual of connection. So when you're going into however you clean your body, really feel the water, feel the warmth or the cold if you choose to shower cold. So feel it. And when you're washing your hair or using soap or whatever, when you're rubbing your body down, don't do just the routine, but actually arrive at it like we started the session with. This is my body. This is my hand that I'm cleaning, okay? This is my beautiful body. These are my breasts that have given milk to my babies, This is my belly and it might be floppy and old, but you know what? It carried kids and it gives me nourishment, and the same with your legs, appreciation of your actual physical body. And give yourself those, whatever that is in your case, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, to not criticize, not going around the belly and saying, oh, that's too big, I have to skip breakfast, but really loving it, touching it and feeling the sensations of your loving hand on your belly, your hand felt from the inside, from your belly, feeling the hand, and from the outside, the hand on the body. So feel it. And if you're using something, really use it with love. Okay. And take this time that you're spending anyway, where you're usually going through your shopping list and what you have to do and the dates and the God not, turn it around, put it into a, gosh, the word again, mindful practice of being aware of your actual physical body and what it feels like to have the privilege to have hot water if you have it tomorrow, and feel what it feels like to have two arms and two legs if you have them, and really making it a ritual of gratitude, love, connection, not as an it, that body, but as me and my talents and my everything. This body is what sat on the computer for all these years. This is the body that was touching your friend. This is the body that you are creative with. Love it and feel it. And this is my recommendation. Make it a little ritual, your 5-minute embodiment start of the day.
It was a beautiful closure. Thank you.
And thank you very much. I really enjoy our talks.
Yeah, me too.
Any last words, my love?
No, I feel so blessed to have my body after you share this. It's just so beautiful.
Isn't it? Hey,
I can't
isn't
wait
it?
to have a shower now. Like really, these are these little things that makes it big. I love it every time I have this realization and I hear something that I feel that you are embodying it. I feel it in my body that I can do the same. So it's easy to get it and
Yes.
share it with the others too.
Yes. Enjoy the body. Enjoy. Thank you very much. And see you next time. And enjoy your evening. Go have a shower.
I will, the best. Thank you very much. Bye bye, everyone.
Love you. Bye bye.
Bye.